Lady from North Carolina, Ms. Ross.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and Ranking Member, and thanks to all the witnesses for joining us today. When artists and creators pour their energy into developing a product or a creative work, whether it's a song, a movie, a book, an article, a piece of visual art, or anything else, they deserve the opportunity to profit from their work. And digital privacy is theft of that opportunity. It deprives not only the copyright holders, but the individual artists and technicians who have contributed to a product of to earn their livelihood and be able to profit from their creativity and their work. This is embodied in our Constitution. Ms. Temple, I know you've gotten a lot of questions about how site blocking works. Which countries have been most effective in executing site blocks while also respecting due process?
Thank you for the question. I think in our experience, the United Kingdom has been very effective in implementing site blocks, but also recognizing and protecting individual freedoms. Australia is another jurisdiction that has extensive experience in this and has been very effective. They recently, in 2018, did a full review of their legislation to see if it had any negative impacts, and continued on with the legislation because it did not. So those are two jurisdictions that we find to be very, very effective.
Just to pick up on Australia, because you cited evidence from studies in Australia that when there were no-fault injunctions, that would encourage a shift to legal channels. Can you tell us more about these findings and how no-fault injunctions affect users' behavior and choices?
Yes, thank you. We've done a lot of studying over the last 10 years in which we've been operating in countries that have no-fault injunctive relief regimes, and our statistics and research shows that not only does traffic to the websites that are actually illegal websites is not only is that plummeted, but consumers then go to legal websites. And so we see an increase of between 5 to 12% to legal websites after we block in a certain jurisdiction.
That's great. That goes a little bit to Mr. McKnight's testimony. I want to shift a little bit. I represent the Research Triangle area of North Carolina, a number of research universities. And I want to highlight how digital piracy impacts scientific journals and threatens the security of American research. For example, Sci-Hub, an active private website based in Russia, has amassed over 80 million scientific journal articles, often by illegally targeting university websites in the US. Mr. Schurz, are you familiar with Sci-Hub, and do you know if your members, including AI developers, have systems in place to ensure that they do not obtain content to train AI systems from Sci-Hub or other pirated sites?
I'm familiar with the website, but I don't think I have enough information to answer that question right now. I'm happy to follow up for the record.
That would be terrific. And then for all of the witnesses, and maybe we'll start with Mr. McKnight because I haven't addressed a question to you yet. Have there been any international policies that have been especially effective at preventing consumers from cyber fraud that often results in engagement with piracy sites?
I think, the site blocking that we've been talking about has been demonstrated to be effective in certain countries, at least against professional pirates. I'm certainly not the expert in this area, and we're focusing more on expeditious removal and enforcement here in the U.S., so that's how I would answer from our perspective.
Mr. Gladstein, do you have anything to add, and then we can come to the other two? No. Okay. Mr. Schurz?
Yeah, I don't know that I have any more to add to that. Thank you.
Ms. Temple?
Yes, I would just add, that again, we've noticed that site blocking has been effective, and in our analysis of those harms that come to consumers that go to those sites. You're, for example, 4 times more likely to be the victim of credit card fraud, 4 times more likely to be the victim of malware, I think 30 times more likely to have viruses on your computers. So site blocking does help protect consumers. We were actually very pleased that we were able to work with the Department of Homeland Security and the IPR Center a few months ago to issue a PSA that talked about the harms to consumers from online pirated websites. So site blocking would be able to help that as well.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. I yield back.